Hi everyone, I'm Melanie Smith with Kidding Around, and I am thrilled to be partnering today with the Sammamish Botanical Garden Society in order to talk to you all about water lilies. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the plant, and then we're also going to be talking a little bit about a famous artist, Claude Monet, who is known for his many paintings of water lilies. And then, if that weren't enough, we are going to try our hand at painting some water lilies in the style of Claude Monet. So why don't we just hop right in and talk about this very cool plant. So do you know what a water lily is? Chances are, even if you don't know it by name, you might have seen one. If you've ever been to a lake or a pond and you have seen some plants floating on the water that look like big leaves with flowers coming up out of them, you have seen a water lily. These plants have rounded and notched and waxy coated leaves on long stalks that rise up from thick and creeping underwater stems that are buried in the mud at the base of the lake or the base of the pond. It's a common misconception that if you have seen a water lily floating on the surface of the water, that you have seen the entire plant. You absolutely haven't. You have seen this beautiful leaf floating on the water, and you have seen this beautiful flower floating on the water. What you haven't seen are the stalks and the stems that connect the leaves and the flowers to the base of the lake where the plant gets its nutrients. Water lilies actually can reproduce very quickly too. They can multiply and multiply for several years until they completely fill the lake or the pond that they are living in. Once they fill that lake or pond, they will exist for a few years and then they will start to experience a die-off. While they are in the pond, they provide food for fish and wildlife and obviously great beauty for our eyes. So let's move on now and talk a little bit about Claude Monet, who is famous for painting his water lily paintings. In fact, during his life, he painted over 250 paintings of water lilies, and I think that you will understand why he was so fascinated with them. But first, let's talk a little bit about him. So he was born in 1840 in Normandy in France. As a young boy, he was interested in the outdoors and interested in drawing what he saw in the outdoors. He painted the French countryside and took to painting the same place many times over in order to capture the changing of the light and the passing of the seasons. So I can see him out there on the hillside with his canvas, painting what he sees in front of him as a beautiful field or a beautiful sky. And then 3 months later, he would find himself in the same place, painting the same thing. Only when he compared the two paintings, he would see that they absolutely were not the same thing because the seasons were changing or the light had changed. And I think this is a really important lesson. I know sometimes if I go outside and I draw what I see, I think, yep, I've done that. But I really should go back a few days later and do it again and draw exactly what I see that day too. Not draw from memory, not draw from what I drew 3 days ago, but draw it again as I see it. And I would notice that things change more than I think they do. Mr. Monet was known as a founder of Impressionism. In fact, his painting, Impression, Sunrise, was what coined the term Impressionism. However, he found Impressionism was limiting, and he began working on series of paintings that displayed single subjects to resolve his frustration with Impressionism. So this is when we start seeing his series of haystacks and his cathedral paintings, and then his water lily paintings. Mr. Monet painted over 250 water lily paintings in his lifetime, and the water lilies that he painted were in a pond that were right by his house. He painted the same water lilies over and over and over again, and they are beautiful. And I'm sure that you can see that now, right? Before we go on, I want to show you a picture of the pond that Monet painted from. This just gives you an idea of what he saw as he painted those beautiful water lilies. And then, of course, we're going to flip back to some more of his water lily paintings so you can see the water lilies the way he saw them. So now that you have seen Monet's beautiful water lilies, I thought that it would be fun for us to try to paint some water lilies in Monet's style. So in order to do that, you will need a few supplies. You will need a large piece of watercolor paper. If you don't have watercolor paper, you can use a large piece of thick cardstock. You will also need some salt, some coarse salt. The coarser the better, so that means the bigger the granules, the better. And then you will need some watercolors and some water. And you will also need a paintbrush, and I recommend that you use a very large paintbrush for this activity. And the last thing that you will need are some oil pastels. So I have here 3 different colors of green in my oil pastels, and I would recommend that you have 3 different colors of green. And then I also have yellow, pink, and orange. These are going to make our flowers, so you can choose whatever color you would like to make your flowers. I think probably the lighter the better though. All right, so let's get started. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to take our very big paintbrush and we are going to dip it in the water, and then we are going to try to wet our entire paper. Now it doesn't need to be soaking. We just want it to kind of appear a little bit damp. This is just going to help us spread our watercolors out. All right, so once you have it wet, then you are going to take your watercolors and you can base your watercolors on the colors of Monet's, or you can make your own. But I am going to base my watercolors on Monet's water lily colors. And so I am going to take some blue and I am going to put some here and here. You know what? Do you see there's not a lot of rhyme or reason? You can take Mr. Monet's, one of his beautiful paintings, and you can put it right here and you can try to emulate it as much as you would like, or you can just kind of freeform it. It is up to you. I am just freeforming this one. So I am going to take some blue and I'm going to spread it around, and then I'm going to take some purple and I'm going to spread it around. And the thing that I am trying to do is spread my color around in such a way that it covers the entire paper. So I'm gonna kind of move it up here, and then I'm going to take a little bit of pink. A lot of Monet's paintings have pink in them, and so I am going to just kind of spread it throughout here, and you can see that started kind of red, but then as it got into the water, it got a little bit lighter and started looking like pink. All right, so once you have your painting done, your page covered, then you are going to, while it's still wet, take your salt and you are going to shake your salt all over this. Now, of course, this can be messy, so you want to make sure that you are doing this in an area that can get a little bit salty. I mean, salt cleans up pretty easily, but you want to be aware of that, and then obviously you want to clean up after you make a little bit of a mess, right? Okay, so now I have my salt on my wet watercolor paper, and I am going to let it completely dry. So I know lots of times I say grab that blow dryer and you can blow dry it. This one you can't really do that, because if you blow dried, I think that's the right tense, the salt would go all over, and you don't want that. So this one, you have to pull out your patience and you have to just wait. So I am going to leave this here, and I will meet you back when it is completely dry, and then we will go on to our next steps. So I will see you soon. So I am back with my completely dry, salty piece of watercolor paper. And so now what I am going to do, now that it is completely dry, is I am going to gently rub the salt off of my paper. Now again, this can be quite messy, so I really recommend that you take your paper, your dry salty paper, to the sink, or you take it outside and you start wiping that salt off. So I am going to do that, and then I will see you again back here soon, okay? All right, I am back now with a completely salt-free piece of paper. I very gently brushed off the salt into the sink, and I want you to see what's left behind. If you look here and here and here, you can see that there is some texture, or it looks like there is texture. It looks kind of rough and bumpy. That texture is created by the salt and the watercolors and the interaction that they had. So this is a great way to be able to paint a frosty night. If you ever want to paint a frosty landscape, paint some blue watercolor on a piece of paper and then put some salt on, and you'll get these frosty snowflake looks. There are many other ways that you can use this textured look. And I would love for you to ask a grown-up to post on our Facebook page the ways that you are able to use the texture that the salt leaves behind in the watercolor. But anyway, we are going to move on. I love the texture that is left here. It looks kind of bumpily and it looks like it's water rippling, and I can imagine that there are water lilies just floating out here on this lake, on this painting. All right, so now we need to actually put the water lilies in, and this is where your oil pastels come in. Now, if you don't have oil pastels, you can use crayons, but I really would recommend that you use oil pastels because they are so much fun to use. They just glide over the paper. But crayons will work too. Oil pastels will work just a little bit better. All right, so now what I am going to do is I am going to start drawing in my lily pads. And the way that I'm going to do that is I am just going to draw several ovals and circles. I'm just going to start drawing. So I'm drawing in some ovals here. I'm trying to vary up their size just a little bit, but ultimately I kind of see they're going the same size. So I have drawn in several there, and now I am going to take another green and I am going to draw some more in, just kind of next to these lily pads. You know, nothing in nature is only one color. And I think that it's really important to know that as you start creating art. So I am using 3 different colors of green to kind of try to make my lily pads look a little bit more realistic. Maybe a little bit more like Monet's, or a little bit more like what we would actually see out in the lake. So I am just going to kind of change up the colors of green that I am using as I draw in my ovals. And there, I think that I have my lily pads. So now I'm going to use the same 3 pastels, and I am going to just start coloring in these ovals and these circles. So I am using, you can see here that I am using a different color to color in than I outlined with, and I am not completely covering my circle. I'm kind of messily coloring in. I'm trying to stay in the lines, but I am not completely coloring in because I'm going to go back with some of my other greens and color in those spots that I missed. That will just leave some room for these other colors to show through. Now, I don't know if you can tell this, I am kind of just aiming at the spaces that have not yet been colored. I am not being super careful. I think that there's something very carefree in being able to color this way, and I think it kind of even makes it look a little bit more realistic, the product. So I'm enjoying this, I'm having fun, but I am not being exact about it at all. So I am just continuing to color in, and then every once in a while I will change my green up so that I make sure that I am getting all 3 colors of green in all of my lily pads, or at least most of my lily pads. And then I go back and I color in a little bit where the spaces I missed, because that just makes life more interesting and it makes your art look more realistic. All right, so I'm almost done here. Of course, you can color in, or you can make as many lily pads as you would like. You can see on some of Monet's paintings he has a lot of lily pads, on some of them he has fewer. So you decide how you want your lily pads to look. All right, now I'm just going to add some of that final extra color in, and I think you can see that my colors, or my lily pads, are getting just some depth and kind of some fun and interest as I add different colors in. And I have to say, the more that you have this oil pastel on the paper, the more fun it is to color with too, because it gets greasy and it just starts gliding over the paper. It's really fun to use. So definitely, if you can get some oil pastels, do that. I will post a link below this video to a place that you can buy some pastels if you would like. All right, so now I think that I pretty much have my lily pads colored in. And now I am actually going to make the water lily, which is the actual flower. All right, so this is where my other colors come in. Of course, we talked about this. You can use the colors that you would like. I am using orange, yellow, and pink. I'm going to tear this down just a little bit so I can use a little bit more than was just out for me there. All right, so now to make your flowers, you just draw a U, just kind of like that. And then I kind of just draw in a little line down from the top of the U into the center, and then I'm just going to color it in. And I am going to color it in kind of the same way that I colored in the lily pads. Not exact, but just, you know, not complete, but just kind of a touch of color. And if you don't want to draw your the actual flowers in that way, you can actually draw a U, and then you can just kind of draw a couple lines right next to it, just like that. And then I'm going to draw one more. I'll draw it just like that. And then I'm going to add some different colors to it. So now I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to kind of draw on top. I can kind of go in here where I had some lines and I can just kind of fill them in. And I can just kind of go into the spaces right there. Then I'm going to make some other yellows just on their own. So I'll just draw a couple lines in. And then I'll draw one there. And now I'm going to take my pink and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add some pink to the yellow. I should add some pink to the orange and the yellow too. This again, nature isn't all one color ever. So we're just going to add a few colors in here and there, and it is going to make it more realistic and more fun. And again, you can add as many lilies, the actual flowers, as you want. It's your art. If you want a bunch of flowers, please add them. It doesn't matter if you add more than one lily per pad. Totally your call. It's up to you. Well, I think I am pretty close to finished here. I think I want a little bit more pink in here, so I am going to add a couple more pink flowers, and then I will add just a little bit more detail with a little bit of color over the pink. So it's not just all one color. There's some orange there. That kind of looks like maybe the sunlight is hitting it differently, or, you know, obviously not all flowers are the same color. So anyway, adding different colors to the same flower absolutely creates interest in your art. So I highly encourage you to do that. And if you're using 3 different colors, see how many flowers you can put 3 different colors on. Your art will thank you for it. Well, I think that I have finished my rendition of Monet's water lilies. I hope that you have had as much fun creating yours as I have had creating mine. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to thank the Sammamish Botanical Garden Society for inviting me to come and talk with you and have so much fun making art with you. You can find more Kidding Around lessons if you're interested in those at kiddingaround.club. I hope to see you there. We have tons of lessons over there. We do art-based lessons, we do science-based lessons, we do kindness-based lessons, we do culture-based lessons, we talk about wonderful women, we talk about great stories, and we also talk about fun movies too. So please check us out over there at kiddingaround.club. And until I see you then, or until I see you next time with the Sammamish Botanical Garden Society, thank you so much for joining me for this activity today. Again, I hope you've had so much fun, and I will see you next time.